Supermodernism against Whizzard. Alright, let's see what I can get. Now, this is a very questionable opening hand. It has lots of eyes, no agendas, but no money. So I had to mulligan it, and thankfully I mulliganed into a very good hand. A hedge fund, a couple of eyes, and most importantly a C source, so that I can threaten C Scotch anytime. And very well against an NR who tends to run cash poor. As long as I can keep him from siphoning, I'll be good. And it seems like he wants to siphon because he's making runs on HQ. And he finds the C source in my hand. So, I mean, no surprise here. When you see a Grundle across the table, this is what you should be expecting. This is a pretty good matchup because the chance of me landing a C source Scotch is very high, as long as I don't get siphoned down. Now I draw into lots of cards, and I find myself with two hostile takeovers. Now, I have two archers on the table. I do not want them to get snaked away from. I want to be able to use them, so I need to protect my hostile takeovers. So it is mandatory for me to res the guard on HQ and install it there in the first place. 4 credits is very expensive to res an end around piece of ice, but I don't really have a choice here. I really cannot risk getting the hostile takeover sniped from me. Another more important reason is that I need the credits badly. I don't know when my next cash economy card will come, so I definitely want to score it ASAP. The back part is kind of an issue, but it's not so much actually against Whizzard. So long as he doesn't play Crypsis, the back part won't really come against me. So it seems like he's not playing the Overmind or Crypsis Siphon DLR deck that I'm expecting. He's playing more traditionally virus-based Whizzard, using Parasite and what I assume to be a data sucker. But he retrieves a Parasite instead because he wants to break down my guard as well. So this could also be a credit denial deck that is based on recurring Parasites, so that to deny all my ice, which is also very annoying, but at least I hopefully should have the cash to deal with it. Now I'm up on 16 credits, so this should be good. And he cannot use the back part because his mode of breaking ice is not by pumping icebreakers using credits, but rather by summoning parasites onto the field. So you cannot use back pumps to bring out the parasites. So now the 3 back pump, he's not making the most out of it yet, which is good for me. So he continues drawing up, and he installs a 4 guy. Alright, so I was wrong. My initial prediction was correct. He is running Siphon, Recursion, and 4 guys to protect him from tags. Otherwise, why would he be playing 4 guys in the first place? He definitely is intending on floating tags. But good luck doing that against Grundle without plus 3 out anyways. That is wishful thinking. Alright, so I reinstall new ice on my R&D because the Parasite is about to chew open. And I let him have my guard because I feel completely safe. My HQ will be completely agenda free, so he can come in all he wants. If he does attempt a Siphon, I have 2 hostile takeover squad. I can always sack one of them to bring out the archer. So I'm feeling very good right now. Now he brings out the data sucker. Yep, that's what you're expecting whenever you see a Parasite around. There's always a data sucker to accompany it, and now he wants some tokens. It's not very nice to give him tokens, but I'll give it to him right now because I know that if he ever runs on HQ again, I can always kill off his archer, his data sucker with my archer. So I'll let him have the access, which won't cost me anything. But I prevent him from going to R&D because I know that agendas are pretty stacked there, and I don't want him to get free access. And just as well because I draw into my cleaners, so I'm definitely going to score that because right now my remote is much more secure than my HQ. I want HQ to be kept completely clean so that I can just let him through all he wants. Alright, so there's no way he can contest the remote at all, and that is where Enigma shines because Enigma steals a click away from him. So even if he wanted to make some fancy play like install Parasite and run again, it is very hard for him to do so unless he already has a Parasite pen. If he takes the time to tutor it with Jin, he will have no clicks left to run. So good for me. But now I'm in a terrible position. I see the restructure in my hand, and I know just how safe my remote is, so I decide to click for credits instead. I do not want to be left on 3 credits after scoring a cleaners. The cleaners doesn't give me any credit bonus, and it will inhibit me from scoring any more agendas. So I click for credits, which is not something you want to do with Grindel at all. And as a result, he was able to get a parasite out, forcing me to rest the archer. At least now that Thrashes is data sucker, so he can no longer threaten parasiting down my archer with data sucker, which is very good. And now he's set completely back with no rig at all and almost no credits. But I still can't score. I need to get my restructure out of the way. I really want to score that restructure. So I click for credits once more. Again, this is really something you shouldn't be doing as Grindel. Maybe I should have drawn cards instead, but I still really wanted to keep HQ clean. Drawing cards wasn't on my agenda. That could have been a mistake by me, because really Grindel should never be clicking for credits. Not when you start with 10 credits during the game anyways. Alright, here's something to set my credit pool even further back. He hit the snare. I have to hit him with it, because it is a chance for me to capitalize on careless play. If he chooses not to remove the tag, or if he doesn't draw up after that, he's dead. But he makes the correct play. With the remaining 3 clicks, he draws 2 cards and clears the tag. So I cannot Scotch him. And now that I'm down on 5 credits, I tell myself, what the heck, there's no point clicking for credits anymore. I'm just going to slow myself down way too much and give him breathing room to assemble his rig and compromise my servers. So I score the cleaners, which is another important factor, because now he can no longer end his turn safely on 4 cards. He needs to end on 5 cards, because Scorched Earth will do 5 meat damage. Alright, he runs HQ, and HQ is not clean, but I cannot rest Archer anyway. And he hits the Scorched Earth, great. So no problem there. But now he knows that he really has to be prepared for 5 meat damage incoming whenever he's careless. Yeah, once again, I definitely think I misplayed the last 2 turns, clicking for credits exclusively, but I don't really know what else I should have done. Was drawing up the correct option? Was scoring the cleaners earlier on the correct option? I have no idea. But in any case, now I actually have my infection tutor, Project Atlas. With Atlas, I can actually tutor for economy cards and the like, so this will work very well for me. I will want to try to score it, but here I decide not to score it. I want to score it with 1 advancement token, because that will guarantee me a win, because I can tutor for my final hostile takeover to end the game. So I'm pretty sure he cannot get into my remote. He'll need to get a knight and 8 credits, and that's exactly what he does. Knight is such a good card in Anarch, and should always be played if you are in the Anarch faction. It's just way too good to pass up on. The 2 clicks required to install it is such a low cost to pay for the versatility you get in breaking ice. So he lets me gain the 2 credits, which is a very welcome reprieve, but otherwise he does to get through the server, and he does score my Atlas. A pity. But no worries, even though he's got my Atlas, he's only on 2 points. He still is in very bad shape. So all I need to do right now is to shut down his knight, to prevent him from to re-secure my remote once more. And this time I will score the other agenda, my geothermal fracking. If he has another knight in his hand, well played. Otherwise, he's not going to get through. So now once again he finds himself at a loss. He is completely shut down by my archer. He cannot do anything against my archer, and that is one really big flaw when it comes to his deck, or most Anarch decks in general, because Shapers and Criminals have Fairy and Sharpshooter to deal with Archer. But for Anarchs, it's very, very hard. There's knight, but as you just saw, destroying the knight wasn't too difficult at all. And I score my geothermal fracking, which is incredibly important because that actually gives me enough credits to play around with whether to score agendas or to flatline him outright. Until now, he still hasn't bothered to throw out plus creeps, so, well, if he goes below 5 cards in his hand, he's going to be asking for a lot of trouble. Once again, my HQ is clean. He can run it all he wants. He brings out the parasites, and yes, he threatens to shut down my archer. But what he doesn't know is that in doing so, by installing both parasites on this turn, he left himself on 4 cards. Game over. So yes, he made a very careless play there, and I punish him for it. An astute runner would know better than to leave themselves with 4 cards when the corp has got cleaners. On the other hand, I also did play very well. In fact, I just got lucky with the early sea source drop and the early hedge fund, given that I'm mulligan. And my HQ was clean most of the time, which is quite rare for a deck that doesn't run Jackson Howard. So I got lucky, and despite misplaying, I was able to make up for it with his mistake. Maybe I should include more econ, I don't know. In my previous iterations of Dwindle, I had been stopped, if only to pump credits, to increase the chance that you get a money card when you do your mandatory draw. But now that there's no beanstalk, there is less reason to draw for money, because when you draw, most likely you either see an agenda or an ice, both which you don't want. You want money, and the only way to get money for this deck is to either pump out agendas or find your money cards. If you can't do either, you're in a pretty deep hole. So yeah, that's Supermodernism. I still clearly have a very long way to go with this deck. Nowhere near up to scratch for tournament level play. Thanks for watching. Happy night running.